Single wall carbon nanotubes itself is going to be like a 27-28 billion market in 2030, right? And the carbon nanotube market is going to be like a 105 billion market in 2030.
Now, carbon is a very well-known element found in everything from food to jewelry. So what is so special about carbon nanotubes? Hi, welcome to It's a Big Deal, where we analyze top private market deals using the amazing Private Circle research dashboard. Today, we're talking about Nopo Technologies, which has raised $3 million funding from Inflexo Ventures and Micelio Fund. But first, let's talk about Nopo. What is this startup and what are they building? Founded by Gadadhar Reddy and Kelly Bradley in 2011, Nopo Technologies is among the very few companies in the world that can produce an advanced material called carbon nanotube. Now, what are carbon nanotubes? Carbon nanotubes are an advanced material made up of carbon atoms arranged in the form of a tube, which has a diameter in the nanometer range. Now, carbon is a very well-known element found in everything from food to jewelry. So what is so special about carbon nanotubes? To the human eye, they look like a powder-like black substance, but is very deceptive because they are 100 times stronger than steel. With this great strength and high thermal and electric conductivity, they can actually replace silicon in the EV batteries and can also be used in the advanced designs of semiconductor. In fact, one of the largest semiconductor companies is already a Nopo's customer. Globally, there are 120 plus applications of carbon nanotubes that are being worked by the researchers. And these can really revolutionize multiple industries, ranging from aviation, water filtration to medicine. Nopo Technologies is at the forefront of this revolution. They are building a made-in-India product that is set to benefit both India and the world. But does building this advanced material also makes business sense? But before we dive into the numbers, please like and subscribe to our channel. Now let's open Nopo Technologies' financial numbers on the Private Circle research dashboard. In FY 2023, Nopo generated a total revenue of 71 lakhs against a loss of about 18 lakhs. In FY 23, the company has not turned profit yet, but the revenue has grown in FY 21 and 22 both. It is typical for R&D intensive companies to not generate a lot of revenue in the beginning because they are investing in sort of building that material, refining it and doing the prototyping. It is also evident from their detailed financials that procuring raw materials is one of the company's biggest expenses, along with staff salaries and rent. So what is driving investor interest in Nopo Technologies? Let's ask one of their lead investors, Inflexo Ventures.
We have with us Murali Krishna Gunturu, principal of Inflexo Ventures. Inflexo is one of the co-lead in Nopo Technologies, and they have closely looked at the company's performance. So let's ask them what they think about the company, why they decided to invest, and much more. Murali, a lot of investors today are looking at Gen AI companies, and sort of there's a lot of interest in that space. But Inflexo chose to invest in a nanotech company. Could you talk about your thought process here? What kind of investment horizon do you see with this deal? And what's the thesis with this deal?
Sure. No, thanks for the question, Yeti. Just before answering that question, I will introduce what we do so that gives you some context about why we invested in Nopo also. So we are a technology-focused fund wherein we look at companies which are innovative and trying to build strong IP, so to say. So when I say that, we look at companies which are building tech which is very defensible and sometimes hard to build, and therefore it makes it harder for the competition to copy. Right. Nopo, if you talk about that company, it's a carbon nanotech company, like you already sort of spoke about it. They build something called single wall carbon nanotubes, and it has taken almost 10 years for the company to reach where it has reached in their product journey. Right. So that amount of research, that amount of development is what has gone into before Nopo has reached where it has reached. Right. So it's very difficult to build something what they have built. So if you think about it, the market size is very, very large. We, according to sort of some of our research, single wall carbon nanotubes itself is going to be like a 27-28 billion market in 2030. And the carbon nanotube market is going to be like a 105 billion market in 2030. So these are large market sizes. These are essentially the team, technology differentiation, and the potential large market has given us the conviction to make an investment in this space. Coming to the investment horizon, we look at a 5-year to 6-year investment horizon.
You mentioned that it's really tough to build the single-walled carbon nanotube. Could you talk about are there other companies who have built this kind of technology? Are there global peers competing with them, or what kind of competitive space exists in this technology?
Yeah. So there are competition, obviously. There are people who have globally built single-walled carbon nanotubes. But if you look at the universe of companies, these are restricted to 5 to 6 companies who are actually able to build single-walled carbon nanotubes. Some of the names of these companies are Oxial, Chasm, C-Nano, NanoC are the 4 or 5 names that we, at least in our research, came across as global competition for what the company does.
Right. Also, could you talk about how they compare to Nopo? What kind of, do you think Nopo would be able to compete with these guys? Why are they better than these competitors?
Yeah, the space of single-walled carbon nanotubes or carbon nanotubes is not a singular space. As in, you can have products of varying qualities depending on the use case and depending on what the customer requires, right? Someone can have higher quality material, someone can have lower quality material, and they will find customers according to what their quality of material is, right? And the pricing also will matter, etc. Nopo's products, according to their distributors and according to our customer formulations, the quality of the material is one of the highest that they have come across as of now. That is one differentiation. And if you look at the funding that is available for these companies, they're not India, they're set up outside of India. The amount of sort of funds available for these companies are much more larger when compared to what funds available for companies like Nopo in India, because it's an upcoming space in India, right? So these guys have raised large amounts of capital to get to where they have gotten. Nopo, we think, has gotten to, obviously it has some amount of journey to take to reach the stage that these companies have reached, but they have gotten to the product material stage with much lesser investment when compared to some of these companies. That is the second sort of differentiating factor, right? And the other factor, I think, is basically Nopo's products can be sent out in different diameters, and their quality is quite exceptional, and they can be used for a broad range of applications.
Yeah. So funding does play a big role, kind of growth that the other companies have had. And now Nopo definitely has raised a new round. What kind of growth do you see them taking now with this new 3 million funding?
If you talk about the funding that Nopo has raised, so that funding has 2 parts to it. One part of the funding is going to be used for increasing the reactor capacity, right? The second part of the funding is going to be used for actually setting up a factory where you'll have multiple reactors, multiple sort of scaled up reactors with the maximum amount of yield to start producing the nanomaterial on a scale, right? So they are looking at plants in and around Bangalore, basically to set up a manufacturing facility and also to service some of the global customers, right? They're already in talks with very well-known battery manufacturers and also semiconductor chip making companies to supply their materials. Like I said, towards the end of this year, they would want to sort of start cracking some contracts and start making revenues, right? In terms of revenue scale, I mean, I wouldn't sort of want to divulge some numbers here, but what we are seeing is that we can look at a $20 million revenue in the next 4 to 5 years, right, from Nopo. At least that's the top line that we are looking at. We'll see where the company reaches, right? Yeah.
We wish them all the best, and I think this is a very interesting space that you guys have invested in, and would be looking at what kind of growth we can see from Nopo in the coming years. Thank you so much for your time and for the valuable insights that you shared with us, Murli. It was great having you on It's a Big Deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
After hearing Murli, it is quite clear that this new funding is going to really boost the growth of Nopo Technologies and also showcase the true potential of their material. Other investors also seem to agree with Murli on the high potential of Nopo Technologies. Let's look at their deal summary to understand more about the fundraising history. As we can see on the PC Research dashboard, the company has a robust fundraising history. It has raised a total of 42.38 crores since inception and was last valued at 69 crores in January 2024. It has a good investor backing from the likes of Inflexer, Orionos, Spectrum Impact and Misideo Fund. With multiple investors on the cap table, I wonder what kind of holding do the founders have. Let's look at their shareholding. Gadadhar Reddy and Kelly Bradley together hold about 41% stake in the company, which shows the high belief that they have in their company. This shows the founders' strong commitment and belief in the company's potential. With such significant ownership, the founders will have strong control over the long-term plans and strategic decisions that they will be taking over the years. As Nopo expands its manufacturing capabilities, the market for carbon nanotubes is also growing and adding new applications by the day. While the future looks promising for Nopo Technologies, it will be interesting to see how they leverage this new funding to drive their growth and innovation over the years. That's all for today's episode. Stay tuned to Private Circle for more such insights.